Folks, come on in, grab a seat. Our first presenter is all about programmatic advertising. And doing that has allowed him to stay young or grow old gracefully. He says he's 25. He certainly looks his age. Ladies and gentlemen, he's been moderating 2 sessions already. It's his turn now to sit solely as a speaker and present to us the technical aspects of what's needed in any tool that even wants to dream of becoming something used for politics. So ladies and gentlemen, I reintroduce you to the founder and executive director of Brand Screen, Julian To. Julian.
Hello. Would you... Sure. So, you know, my interest in this comes from 2 areas. The first area is that I'm a technologist, and the area of technology that I work in is this area called programmatic. And essentially, at its base, it's getting a lot of different systems to talk to each other and eventually identify individual people online. It can be that they're anonymous, but they're identified in terms of their gender, their location, their political affiliation. And that whole engine room of what we are doing in programmatic is really geared around advertisers and around, you know, connecting the dollars of the advertiser with the dollars in the media. The other part, and I'll leave that to one side, the other part of my, you know, not as a career, not professionally, but I studied politics at university, years ago at Macquarie University. And I guess just through political science had a growing political awareness, which really pretty much stayed in the box through the early part of my career. But in the last 10 years, I've, you know, started becoming a little bit more active. I became the New South Wales convener for the Australian Republican movement, which is a movement that believes we should have an Australian head of state. A year or 2 later, I joined the National Executive, and we, together with a few names that Australians will know well, have tried to raise awareness as a political movement, as a non-partisan political movement, for greater autonomy and having an Australian head of state. It's a tough argument to make in Australia because we are...
Well, responding to Craig's questions, it does have a big impact. We've seen it in year 2008. It was capitalized by certain parties, and the momentum was built up towards 2013, and certain parties have used it to a greater impact. I would say it does have impacts. The next question is whether it makes it confusing for everyone. The answer is yes. Right? I truly believe that a lot of information was shared in social media, and after everything is over, like what I mentioned earlier, it's a hit. It's a trend to share. My friends does it, I does it. So everybody shares information, whether it's true or false. But when things settle down, people start to realize that what I done was wrong or what I done was correct. I had a friend which just posts anything and everything in his Facebook. It's a personal friend. So I asked him a question after 2 months after the general election, just after 2 or 3 months. I asked him, the things that you have shared, do you regret it? He says some he did not, but some he does regret it actually, because those things which was shared was not true. So it's like he comes to a self-realization that he is not only cheating the public, but he's also cheating himself and also his friends among the Facebook community. So another question that relate was that how do we regulate, correct or not? And I don't think there is any regulation at the moment for Facebook, Twitter. You need to be self-regulated. And I truly believe that if you want to stand out in the society as an individual which were to be respected by other people, you need to self-regulate yourself and also self-regulate the things that you're going to post or ask. If not, you will just be a barking dog and people will just lose respect on you. Yeah, Julian, go ahead.
Right. Chris, on what you just said, I'd just like to throw this in. Malcolm X once said that if you stand for nothing, you're going to fall for everything. So that's basically like what you mentioned. If you don't have that internal regulation working for you, then you're just going to share everything that everybody else is throwing your way. Julian, you have something
Yeah,
to
I mean,
say?
something I did a bit of just in preparation for today, for this session, was sort of look at some of the fact-checking. PolitiFact and ABC in Australia has a fact-checker, and it's interesting because it's an ideal sort of service to have if you are out there and you're genuinely trying to make informed decisions and you're trying to avoid reading your friends' tweets, you know, and believing all of them. That's terrible. But we are definitely seeing Scott Morrison, he has taken the most incredibly tight information control to the matter of boats coming from Indonesia to Australia, right? He makes one statement per week on a Friday at 10 a.m. and that's it. You know, you ask him on Saturday and he'll say, I'll tell you next Friday, right? And that's it. He's absolutely stonewall once a week and drives everyone absolutely crazy, of course, right? Because they're used to this rhythm of 24-hour news and he doesn't tweet about it, he doesn't do anything. All of a sudden now, there was a riot, terrible business on Manus Island, one person killed, and all of a sudden he immediately reacted and gave information. And it turned out to be a little wrong. It took him like 2 hours to correct it, and everyone was all over him because he spoke too soon. It's like, what? For 3 months, he could only do wrong because he would say only what was right once a week. And the moment he spoke out spontaneously using social media, he was crucified. So I guess the lesson from that is, in both cases, be careful, be authentic, and be honest with the people that you're talking to. It is a communication. You know, talk to people like they're real people. Respect your audience, because if you don't, they will come back and bite you really hard.
I guess the onus of responsibility is even heavier on you if you're a politician engaging on social media. How's it done like in a country like India? We have so many people, so many different backgrounds, education levels, engaging with a politician online, on a medium like Twitter, which is so robust.
Yeah. So I think I would like to answer your question along with what Anol had asked. Say, and I will take an example of corporate world. And I would say fundamentally, the question is to ask, do any one of us, especially people who have responsibility, we have an option to be not on this medium? I'll take an example. So what really happens in corporate world, so what used to happen when social media came in years back, initially people were not there. Brands found value. But fundamentally, individually, some of the people thought that if we get onto social media, people will talk negative about us. The truth of the matter is, people will talk even more if you are not there. So if you are not on social media and there is a natural desire for your target audience, which in case of politicians is the citizens, you are only creating a further gap. And like in case of corporate world, real case studies and some level